Hey guys, it's Tuesday, so today is Thread Tech Tuesday. And I had a question about studio storage, and so I thought I'd start with my thread storage system. But before I show you how I have it stored, let me just preface this with saying, remember I wrote a book, so I have a lot of thread. Some of it was given to me as samples by manufacturers, and a lot of it I purchased on my own though. So I have a lot of thread. And then I was working with Wonderful thread for quite a few years, so I have a lot of thread. I have more thread than probably most people have. Anyway, so don't be shocked. But it has made me get very organized. And living in Colorado for so long, there was no way to leave thread out. It would just dry out, it would get faded if it was in any sunlight, and dusty. Oh my word, it's a very dusty area of the country. So I came up with a system that really works for me and keeps my thread safe, and I can usually find what I want really quickly. So back here, it's my walls of thread. It's a wall of thread. And these Sterilite bins I found have been the best for me. So what I did was I separated my thread by fiber content, and then size, and then color, because I really felt that the fiber content and the size are the two things that affect my decision the most. And then the color, I can kind of go either way, can usually find a color that's going to work in the range that I'm looking for. So I didn't worry too much about the colors. So this upper tier here is all my cotton threads, and the first three are all the 40 weight regular medium weight thread, and I couldn't build my tiers higher because my light switch is back there. Otherwise I would have gone higher here, make it a little easier, a little more symmetrical, I guess. Anyway, so then I separate them by color. So I have my whites, my creams, my beiges, tans, and then my blacks and grays. And those are my neutral drawers. Then I go to yellows and golds, oranges and browns, reds and pinks, purples, all the purples. I just call this my berry drawer. Then I have blue, aqua. For some reason I have a lot of aqua thread. I don't know why. It's got its own drawer. And then all my greens. You can see they're almost all yellow-green. And then this drawer is some miscellaneous thread. There's those multicolored cotton threads that have so many colors in them that you can't really pick up. They don't fit in one of the drawers. So I put those there, and then I have specialty threads like some silk thread, some heat shrinking thread, disappearing thread, some acrylic wool thread, and some really fine cotton thread that I only use occasionally. And these last two drawers are all my heavy threads, the 12 weight, 20 weight, anything bigger than like a 35 is in here in those drawers. And then once you go down, this is all rayon thread, mostly rayon embroidery thread. Let me see if I can tilt this a little bit. And then the very bottom is my metallic drawer, Invisifil and Decobob, which are the really fine polyester threads. And then the really heavy decorative rayon threads are in here. On this side are the poly cotton, and poly embroidery threads, so that they're kind of all separate. And up here I also have my my bobbin rings. I have a lot of empty bobbins. I find that makes my day go easier if I have lots of empty bobbins. Now remember, I did have a teaching studio at one point, so a lot of this is leftover from the teaching studio. This is my ring of Invisifil and Decobob. Now, when I first got a hold of these pre-wound bobbins, I really had my doubts, but they are so simple. They work great. Then over here is my cottons. I kind of separate them by color a little bit. I don't like to tell my grains. Rayon and polyester and some fancy threads here. And then back over here are my ultra heavy threads that go in the bobbin. So they're separated and ready to go if I want to do some of that. And then needles and just some miscellaneous stuff. So that's kind of how I do my thread storage. I really felt that having it enclosed was really important. Plus, with this much thread, there was no way to hang it on the wall. It would take up my whole studio. All my wall space would be thread. And it's just, thread is messy. When I moved, oh my gosh, days where I did spend some time last week straightening these out, because when I moved, I just put them in the bins and taped them shut, and all the moving, they were unraveled. I have not even gone into the metallic drawer because it is really a disaster in there. It's just, I'm gonna have to do something fun with all those unspooled threads. So let me turn the camera around and I'll give you just a quick tour of some of my studio's organization. So here's the thread here, and I'm coming with my sewing machine. I have all these standing lights because I do not have good light in my studio, so I'm using my photography and filming lights as regular light. So this is my workspace. These are reclaimed cabinets from a building. They were, I don't know, kitchen cabinets or something, you know, break room cabinets. And I just put a piece of plywood on it and my cutting boards. And then all my rulers and miscellaneous stuff. One of the things I really love in my studio is this wall pegboard, this metal pegboard. It's by Wall Control, W-A-L-L Control. And they have all these great bins that fit in. In my previous studio, I had 3 of these next to each other, but that didn't work in this studio, so they're kind of broken up. But I have all kinds of different cool bins for holding stuff. They're really great. And this is my iron. Sorry, the light's kind of in the way. So my iron is this, I think it's called Silver Star. It was not expensive. I got it on Amazon. And it has this lovely water reservoir, and only has, well, I've got Teflon plate, but it only has 3, holes right at the top, which is really handy and does great steam. So, and I love how it just hangs. It feels a little jerry-rigged because, it's just my studio. So, one of my other favorite things is my cutting table, which is also a padded ironing surface. Well, I don't cut from it so much. I work here and design here, and this is where my tutorials usually are. So it's great having this padded surface ready to go. And then I'll show you my fabric. I used to have all my fabric in bins, but I just found that it was a mess. I pull a bin out to go through it, and it took longer to go through the fabric and find it and get rid of it. I never would put the bin back, so I'd have bins stacked all on the floor, and it was just a mess. And then I didn't really know what I had, so I did try and make it a little bit pretty by doing it kind of a color wheel, and it's just kind of messy. That's just the way it is. I dig through I'm always kind of going up and digging through, and of course the fabric I want is usually on the bottom, so I'm ripping it out. But that's how I have my fabric, so I can see it all, and paper up at the top. Now most of my silks are in these drawers under my table, just because they're messy and slippery and don't cooperate very much. But so that's some of my studio organization. It's not perfect. It's a work in progress, and I have a lot of work to do on this studio as we move forward. Number 1, getting lights.